Welcome back to the channel. Well, by now you would have heard the major news that the Fed is raising interest rates by 0.75%. What is this going to mean to markets now? The stock market, crypto markets, real estate, and of course our international markets like here at home in Australia, the UK, New Zealand, Canada, Europe, wherever you may be. Let's look at that in today's video. A nice, brief, succinct update of the markets and the volatility that is coming into the market, stuff that we've talked about with our members over the last few days and has been a great signal for traders as well as investors. So make sure you smashed up the like button. Thank you so much for your support here on the channel throughout this bear market. And of course, hitting that subscribe button with the bell notification icon so you can be updated with this content. It allows YouTube to know what you want to see more of, and you get to see less of the other stuff. So make sure you smash those buttons down below. All right, guys, let's have a look at Bitcoin right now. It is now climbing its way back up to $22,500. Yesterday, I put out a post to all of my members about what I'm doing with my $1 million retirement fund and what I'm buying, how much I have in there in terms of cash, what's in the bank, what cash I have on the exchange, Bitcoin, ETH, all those sort of things, all the exact details of what I'm buying and selling in that post. And you can find that in the link to TIA Lite and TIA Premium. We have a special on TIA Premium at the moment as well with the Bitcoin Crash. Just use Bitcoin Crash 100. Links are all in the description. That one's a great detail post to let people know what it is I'm doing with that portfolio based on what we're seeing in the market right now with this current bounce, especially as it is trying to climb above the 200-week moving average, which of course is a great target for any sort of bear market for Bitcoin. You can see in the past we've hit that multiple times. If you're unaware of that, make sure you keep that with your charts. It's just a nice, simple indicator to have a look at, especially if you are new to the game and you're just wondering, is it a great time to be buying or selling? And of course, you have to note that the market has fallen underneath the 200-week by about 30-odd%. So it can fall further, it can fall less. But if you know that, then at least you know that you've got a good time in the market to be buying. You never have to buy the exact low. You just need to be buying low if you're looking for a long-term investment. And then, of course, making sure you're selling out of this longer-term investment. So what have we seen in the last 12, not even 5, 6, 7 hours? The Fed, 75 basis point rate hike, door open for another rate increase of that magnitude later in the year. So the market has responded favorably now to this rate hike because they think the Fed is now becoming a little more responsible with their stance against inflation. Whereas if we saw this during the bull market, people would probably be pissed and the market wouldn't move up as much. So this is important to understand the timing of the cycle, where we are in the cycle. When we start to respond well to things that we would normally have not responded well to, things are either changing or we're just starting to get to that bottom of the market. People are actually starting to understand, all right, now is the time that the Fed has to be tightening, and we're all happy to see that in the market, and therefore we see the prices start to increase on things like the S&P. Of course, we've seen these start to bounce. S&P is now at 3,800, and the NASDAQ has also jumped as well. The NDX here, you can see 11,600 points. We saw a jump overnight. Our 50% level, our 200-week moving average, and even further down, the next support levels aren't too far away. So even if we did start to fall after this, we're still close to what I think is a potential low coming up in the market. Now, I did mention I wanted to look at some short-term stuff, especially for the flip that's happening on the market right now. We're up 1.3% on the day for Bitcoin, and we'll probably close by the time you guys have seen this. But that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, our 9th day down. And if you're looking at this in terms of a trader, then you've got a pretty good idea that this is potentially going to see a bounce eventually, especially with the volume coming in at these levels. If we throw it onto the red, you can see a lot of red here, and the closes are all now at the same zone. So I've got a couple of hours left here until we get the next close. This is another fantastic signal. And if you are interested in trading, check out the trading series on Bybit. It is for more experienced traders. Make sure you have a plan, use stops, all that sort of thing. So if you want to join us on the World Series of Trading, look for Crypto Hobos on Bybit. Use the links in the video description if you just want to sign up and use it as a spot trading platform without leverage. And you can get up to $4,100 of sign up bonuses by using those links in the video description. Back to Bitcoin, and the nice signal here is that 9 straight days down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is our 9th day, lower lows, lower highs. Even though the average person is probably looking at this as a green day, sure, we might close up, but the day is still lower high, lower low at the time that I'm recording this. So that's still a down day. And what we know from Gann rules, because the signals here, especially at the end of very long moves, this is the lowest price that we have seen in this entire bear market. At the end of very long moves, great trading signals. 7 to 10 day down rule. This is a Gann rule. It can go a couple of days longer, it might not, but 7 to 10 days, generally you get a bounce back. So it's a nice, easy trade signal to the upside. When you get 3 closes at very similar levels at the end of very, very significant runs, and I'm emphasizing the very significant because you don't want to use the rule in smaller time frames and smaller runs because it doesn't work as effectively. But now we're starting to see that. So we've got our 7 to 10 days. We've got our 3 days of closes, provided in an hour and a half we close at these levels, as a potential bounce signal. And we have high volume coming in. We have it at support levels. This was at the previous old all-time high, which was a significant level. You can see here back at 19, 20,000, and we had that low there. So you got fantastic trade signals lining up at this point in time for a bounce, which is why I'm looking at this as a signal for a flip, at least in the short term. The trap comes in should we get rejected at these next levels at about 25-ish. So between 24.5 to about 26,000, because they're the lows that came in before we got the breakdown. We get rejected there, then I'd be looking to take some profits on these trades. But in the meantime, there are some good percentages to be had up here, even from this level, 12 up to that point, about 14, 15. And of course, for traders, I'm not saying this is for everyone, and definitely don't get into it if you're just a spot trader or beginning, because you don't want to lose all of your funds or the funds that you're looking to risk, especially at these lower levels. But in terms of a long leverage trade, a couple of X can get you some reasonable returns in this shorter period of time. Now, of course, like I said, that is for more experienced traders, but there are some really, really nice signals at this point in time. But of course, I'm looking out for the trap as well. And I'm going to go to total 3. So this is our cryptocurrency market caps, excluding Bitcoin and ETH. The levels I've been looking for on the channel are between that sort of 300 and 320 billion. This low is coming in at 327 billion. We've just broken down over the last 4 days underneath that support level of 400 billion. So all of the cryptocurrency market caps, including stable coins, broke down, and we're now starting to find a little bit of a base, possibly a short-term base. And I'm looking at the same thing here that I did for Bitcoin. Should we get rejected at around that 400 billion, if we come up to test it, maybe even a little higher, and then start to fall our way back down, this is a temporary short-term low, especially for all of the altcoins, of course, like I said, not including Bitcoin and ETH. So that could be the trap here, the short term. The rest of the markets are looking slightly bullish for the short term here. And Michael has put out a fantastic video looking at a massive V-shaped recovery incoming using these specific trading rules that I just mentioned in the video, looking at how this works with the 7 to 10 day rule as it falls, and then you get the reversal. It falls, we're looking for a reversal at this point, and this is in terms of a short-term V-shaped recovery for cryptocurrencies in terms of a trade. So short-term, check that out. I'll leave a link in the video description if you want to learn more about that as well. So the altcoins, looking for a trap here. People have asked the question, should I be selling my altcoins? Well, if I wanted to clear out my portfolio and I left it really, really late and I don't want to hold these things long term, I would be looking for this as the possible bounce to be just cleaning out my portfolio so I can clear my investor head, so I can clear up what it is that I'm doing with all of my crypto spread across different accounts and different things that I'm holding. This is my time to be able to clear those out. Like I've talked to my members many times before in the Investor Accelerator, I sold out of altcoins a long time ago. The bulk of all my altcoins sold out ages ago, and I held just a tiny bit. That stuff is all gone. That was gone a while ago now too. But if I was still holding at these levels and I just needed to get rid of some because I didn't want to keep holding them, then I would be looking for the bounce. Of course, it could be a trap and then we head back down, so you'd feel pretty good about it. But no one knows in investing whether we are going to be going all the way back up to new all-time highs from here, or it's a trap and we head back down. I would bet my money on, which is why I would be looking to sell, that what we look in the short term is possibly a trap, a little test up, and then possibly a fallback for the altcoins. This is excluding Bitcoin and ETH. You can see the underside here, the support from March, May, June, July, May, and late May as well has been broken. And generally what happens is you get a retest to the underside and then a fall back again. Doesn't always happen 100% of the time, but I've seen this way too many times for me to think that this market has the potential to go back up to new highs and regain all of those losses from my altcoins. So even if it did come up here and I sold at this level, 420 billion, and it kept going, I would just have to suck that up and just say that it is what it is, and I've taken my profits or cut my losses, and I'm just waiting for the market to come back down, because it will, I think, happen in time. I'd have to be patient, and I think these will continue to come out because we need to see Bitcoin form a base, bounce, and give us some sort of support and start to work its way higher. And we need to see the Bitcoin dominance also increase as well, break through this 48% resistance. We've been on the way down over the last few days, but we need to see Bitcoin break through the resistance, stabilize the cryptocurrency market, and then over time, over the next 6, 12, 24 months, begin to instill some more strength back into the overall cryptocurrency space before I think altcoins will have their turn in the sun again. And I think that also goes for ETH, even though ETH is probably going to see a bounce here as well. There's a ton of volume coming in, same sort of trading signal, 3 closes at a similar level. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is our 9th day down, so our 7 to 10 day rule comes in here. And of course, the volume is there as well on previous support. You've got the 200-week moving average. The market is really trying to come in for a bounce here. Some very, very good volume. So in terms of a trade, these majors are looking reasonably good. Confirmation isn't there just yet. The stops need to be in play in case it doesn't go in our favor, but there is a lot of good signs here for at least a short-term flip. And of course, keep in mind that there can still be the trap overall, like you can see with the lows being broken down, possibly coming up to test those levels. So my profit target area, or at least an area that I would be looking for some sort of reaction from the market, some sort of resistance, is around that 1400 level, which was the previous all-time high back in 2018 for ETH. And that's where I'd be looking for to see how the market responds to that price range. Overall, I'm feeling pretty good about this as a temporary low, and in time, we'll find out whether it is actually the final low. It's gotten very, very close to the previous all-time high, and then the high before the market broke out in 2020. So it's looking like a reasonable low for now. That's why I like it in terms of trades. And if you are interested, check out the World Series of Trading Bybit. Link is in the top of the video description. Up to $4,100 of sign-up bonuses, and anyone can get into those bonuses as well. The Fed up 0.75, possibly looking to raise interest rates further, but the market is finding that as a good, tough stance against inflation. So they're feeling a little more confident about that. So even with the bad news, rates going up, the markets can still find that as positive news and start to push the prices up, which is what we're looking for in this second half of the real estate cycle, and the markets to start to work themselves out and find a base in the coming months before we head on to the next major leg of this second half of the real estate cycle, big bull market, before everything crashes in years to come. But we've got plenty of years to go for that, plenty of good years. In the meantime, make sure you've smashed the likes and subscribe. Thank you for all your support and your comments down below. Let me know your thoughts on the market now. Is this the final low in your opinion? Or do we have further downside to go to $16,000 or $12,000 for Bitcoin? Thanks again, guys. I'll see you at the next one. Until then, have more fun to get more done.